Refresh. Oh yeah, those people to work. Yes, very much. So now, let's just redo it again. So the first view we get when you open database is this. It's called background view. So when making the database, we opt for blank desktop database. Yeah? And then we're going to give it the name. So for us, it's called DB, like that. So this extension, you just leave it because once we just click create, it's going to capture. Now we start with the first table, which is students. So the students table is where we are going to store student information. Yeah. So so the first thing that we do is, for example, here we have a table by default. So we're just going to use this. So we'll change the view. For example, this one is datasheet view. Now we need to change the view to, yeah, to design view. So we just click on here. So if you click on the drop down, you see this datasheet and design. This one is for entering data. This one, the design is where we design the column names and the data type that those columns are going to hold. So we always start with the design view. Yeah. So we click on the design view. Okay, we're expected to name our table, so we just write students. Then we click on OK. So now here is where we define the. Yeah. Yeah. But when we first open the blank database, uh, when you click on that option, it took us to that table. For example, you could see it was table one initially. Yeah. So now when we change the view, yeah, when you try switching the view, they're going to ask us to give a name. Yeah. For database. So now we write student ID. So the first field is going to be the student ID. Yeah. So we are supposed here to define the primary key, and the data type is auto number. So this one is the primary key, which is going. It's like student number or something, which identifies each and every student. Remember, we mentioned for each table you must have a primary key, and the primary key is the unique identifier that is going to uniquely identify each and every entry. For example, here now that you're storing student, we need a column that is going to identify each and every student, yeah, that is not shared, that is unique. Yeah, something like an ID number or something. Then we go to the first name. Mhm. Yeah, we'll just change the data type. We're going to just place maybe a number, even a short text. Yeah, that will do. Provided now you don't repeat, it's going to work. But we can try that so that you write the number itself. And just put the data type as number. And then last name, last name, uh, short text. Then date of B is date day stroke time. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So we can start by entering the data. So we change the view, right? Yeah, because this one now that we've defined the column, so we change it to data sheet so that we're able to enter the data. So we change here to data sheet. So we must save. Yeah, so don't mind about this one. These are just some. You must first save the table. So if you click on OK, it saves those changes so that we're able to. Yeah, so for example, now this one here, since we set it as the number, we have to enter it manually, our primary key. So for example, we start with 1, okay, and then we say the first name. So the first name, we say it's John, and last name is Doe, the date of birth, 205. So assuming now we are admitting students, 2503, 20. This how many Gen Z man is an alpha? Okay, now. Actually, then it was it. Okay. Oh, this one you're supposed to enter. That's the so we said the primary key as number. So we have to enter it manually. Then this one is going to be 3. Then it's Alex me. Oh no. Smith is the second name. Okay, great. Yeah, so now this is our students table. And we can continue adding on if we still have additional data. Yeah, but we after doing that we can just save it or something. Yeah. So that's our student table. So we have to create the next one, the courses table. Yeah, so we just come again to create and then we go to table design. Create table design. Yeah, so now we start by specifying the field names. So the first one in the courses is course ID. Course ID. The data type. This one, let's just use the auto number. Click here, auto number. And then this is going to be our primary key. Yeah, so we must state here primary key. So this one will be the unique for each and every course that we enter. And it's going to be the primary key in this table of courses. Then we go to course name. The course name is again it's supposed to be short text. Course name short text, and then credits is a number. Credits. So now after we've specified everything, then we change the view. But first, they're going to ask us to name it. So we just click on this view option, and then you click on yes. Now we give. So for example, they say here, give the table name so that it can change. So you have to give the table name of courses. Courses. Then you click on OK. Oh, yeah. The for this one for typing home. Uh-huh. To go to native. Hata kwa Excel. Yeah. Excel iko automatic. No, no, no. Yeah, but it's good to ask. So now we do mathematics. But you find these tables is this somehow similar to what we had in Excel. Yeah, yeah. But now this additional feature here is that we can now link. For example, we had different sheets in Excel. But now with this one, we give the different sheets, we link them together, but in using this the primary and foreign key. Then there is 3 mathematics, then we go to history. And then we go to physics. Four, you see. So we can just save this one. Okay, that is it. So the next table that we create. So this one is just a number, but in real world, the courses can be many. Yeah. So let's go to the final table, which is enrollment. So again, you just come to create, then table design, then you start with the specifying the field name, so enrollment ID. This is going to be auto number and our primary key. Auto number. And then we set it as the primary key. And then we go to student ID. Yeah. Auto number you don't even have to tell. Yeah, huwezi save hiyo table. Haiwezi kubali usave it as a table. Yeah, you must take the table. Yeah, it will alert you. Yeah. So the student ID is a number. And as you've seen in our tables, they have stated is a foreign key. Okay? It's the foreign key because here, enrollment, we are trying to write the name or the details of the student who was enrolled. Yeah. So instead of writing the name of the students, we have a table called students. So you can just pick its primary key. And then you're able to enter. And then you go to course ID. Course. So likewise, we are supposed here to write the courses. But since we already have a table with courses, so it's the foreign key. And then the grade. Show text. Okay, so let's change the view so that we're able to enter the data. Say yes, enrollment as a table name, and then you click on OK. Okay, now student ID. So here we are supposed to give the student details for student ID. So for example, now the first enrollment, the student who was enrolled is we say student one. So for example, student one here is John Doe. These are its details. So we just pick the primary key here because if we just pick one, it means we've picked everything here. So we just come to enrollment and then you write one. And then in the course ID, uh, yeah, instead of writing everything, just pick yeah. And also in the course ID, so we just pick one again because maybe it's month and the credits for month are three. So instead of writing these details, we just pick the primary key of one. And then the grade. So the grade is what you're supposed to enter, which is A. Again, we come again to another enrollment. Who is this student who was made this enrollment? So we could write the name and the details and everything, but now we have another table. So we just come to maybe student here, see. Maybe if it's Sarah Kam, we use it is their primary key, which is two. So we just take these two, and then we write here two. And then the course ID. The course is two again. So we come to courses. Maybe it's history. Instead of writing history and everything, we just pick the primary key, which is two. So we write here two. And then the score for this is B. Hmm? Data view. You designed in a car. Again, we come again to student ID. For this enrollment, it's enrollment number three. Which student has enrolled? Again, let's say the student is still John Doe. So we just pick the primary key, which is one. And then again, the course that they have taken, maybe it's one again. Oh no, the course maybe it's three. Yeah, maybe the course here is physics. You see, yeah. And then maybe the score here is eight. And then again, another enrollment. So you can take enrollment four. Maybe the student who was enrolled this time. Let's say the student is number three called Alex. So we're going to write here Alex. And then the course ID. Um, so let's say the course ID this time is two, no one. Yeah, you can pick one. So let's say it's mathematics one. And then the score is maybe C. Okay. So now you see this column of student ID. The values of student ID are the primary key in another table, right? Yeah. So we fill this column using the primary key of this student. Yeah. So you cannot for example in enrollment, here in the student ID, if you write something like 5, you're going to get an error because it does not exist. There's no record 5 here. Yeah, even 4 there's no record 4. It has to be between 1 and 3. Now in the enrollment student ID, or in this column, we fill it with the primary key in the student because it saves us now the time of writing the name, the last name, the date of birth, and everything. We just have to write just one thing, which is much more easy and which is also unique. So now, since the values here are the primary key in another table, we call this one foreign key. Yeah, and this is what we are going to use now to create the relationships in the different tables so that we end up with a database. Okay. Yeah. As well here, the course ID. We could as well write the course name. Here we're supposed to, for example, here the enrollment, maybe, for example, here we also have different courses. We have different students. Now, we are trying to see what are the enrollments. So, for example, here, the primary key for this table is enrollment ID. The students who was enrolled, yeah, we are supposed now to write the students' details, maybe their name or something. But instead of writing that, and we also have another table that has all the details of our students, we just go to that table, pick the primary key because it's unique. It's like admission number. Yeah, we put it in the student ID in that student column, so that we just when we come here, we refer to this other table. We go see one, and then we're able to see all of their details. Yeah. The same thing is for courses. We have also a table with all our courses. So instead of us writing now the course name and then everything, we just come to this course, we pick the primary key, and then we're able to know, oh, it's physics. Okay. The the credits are full, you see. Yeah. So this column again, we're going to call it the foreign key, this course ID, because in this other table of courses, it is the primary key. Yes, and we've used it here. Now, the purpose of doing this, it not only makes our work easier, because you can imagine writing the course every time, it also forms a basis for us to link the different tables that we have. You see, yeah. So, one, we're able to link the different courses that we have. You see, and two, it makes our work easier because now we don't have to write courses. For example, courses can be wrong every time we write mathematics. You see,
So is this like coding?
basically, yeah, it's something like coding.
Like you don't have to remember.
Yeah,
Like when you
yeah,
type one, then you can do that.
yeah. You can relate. That is why now it assists in our next step, where now we create the relationships. So to create the relationships, we go into database tools, and then we click on relationships, and then you have to highlight all the tables that we have. For example, enrollment students, and then when you click on add, and then close, now you're able to see. Now, now, now to create the relationships, what we did was to drag the primary key to the foreign key. So if you have any foreign key, you must go back to its primary key so that you drag that primary key to the foreign key. You see, so for example, here in course ID is the primary key, and we use the values in course ID in the enrollment here in this other column called course ID. So we drag course ID to this course ID like that, and then we click on create. You see, that way now we are able to create now the relationships. Again, we come to this one, student ID. It's used here, student ID as the foreign key. Okay, and then click on create. Yeah. That way now we are able now to create. We are able now to create a database. Yeah. That way now we end up with a database. So, so now that we've created the database, yeah, yeah, and we've make those relationships, yeah. So the next thing for us is to now we'll save this database definitely. So it's going to be saved. Yeah. So you can just click on save, yeah, so that now access. notices that if we just come here and we click on relationship, we're able to see our relationships has been saved. So now we can query. You can pick one thing here, pick one thing here, pick one thing here, depending on what you want. For example, here, the query we are supposed to create is for the we are supposed to see the student names, what courses they have taken, and in those courses, what grade did they score? You see, yeah. So, for example, now normally, for example, even in Excel, there was nothing much we could do. We had different sheets, and there was little we could do. But now here, you can pick something from this table, pick one thing from this table, pick one thing. Thanks to the relationships that we've created here. Yeah, so these relationships is what are really assist us to ultimately end up with this. You see, to ultimately end up with making something like a query because you can pick something here, pick something here, pick something here. It makes things easier, and also it assists us to have one single entity because this is a school. We want to to link courses to students. Even if we need support staff, maybe they could be away with. We could add it here. Yeah. So now to create the queries, we go to create, and then you say query wizard. Now and then you click on OK. Yeah. So for example, here the queries you are supposed to take is we're supposed to check the course name that has been taken by students and the grades that they scored. Yeah, so for example, here we are supposed to. So for the first and the last name, we go to the students table. So click on students and then click on the first name, click on this single arrow because we just want to take one column. And also for the last name, one single column. And then you go to the courses. So in the courses, we take the course name, single, and then in the enrollment, we take the grades, the grade here. Yeah, that is it. Now we just doing them together. So you just click on finish, and now we are able to see. Yeah, the first name John, the last name Doe, the course that they took mathematics, the grade they got is A. Yeah,
And then they also appear here. We can just search.
the search.
Every time you do something in appear function.
Yeah, in appear. Now this is the object section.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now we have, and we remember we said in Access we have four objects. We have tables, we have queries, we have forms, we have reports. Yeah. So now any report or anything is going to be shown here. Yeah. So the next one is yeah, form for entering the students. So again, but this one now we have to go to it's for enrollment. Right? So we have to really go to enrollment, and then we say form wizard. Yeah. And then, so since this for the enrollment, you want to put everything. So you are going to click on the double arrow like this, and then we're going to click on finish.
Now there for enrollment, we are do that for student and for
Yeah,
course.
yeah. But for this one, let's just use it. Yeah, this one was when I entered it, I did not really.
Or
Yeah, that part.
just for
Yeah, I just yeah, yeah.
after the one visa.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This one I just
After
entered.
1 hour, you try your part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one I just entered, but don't mind about it. We're just going to enter. We're just going to enter it.
How should it have been? Here.
Yeah, it should be just create a form to enter enrollment. Yeah, yeah. This one I overdid. Yeah, yeah. So now, for the enrollment, now for the enrollment ID. So that we can add it to the last, we just click on. So for example, if we were to enter an enrollment here, it's going to update the first entry, right? Yeah. So to fix that, we just right click and then We go to design view, and then we click on property sheet, and then we go to data entry, data entry, and then we click on yes. Yeah, yes. And then we click on this space here, and then we click on form view. So this one will allow us now when we enter our data, it goes to the last column. So for example, here if we just write two students, the student is two, maybe the course is three, maybe the grade they got is maybe we can write something like B. So to enter this data, we just click on save. So we just click on save here, save like that. Okay. Now you find that we have some fields that still have data. So it can jeopardize us when we try to enter something next time. So to fix that, we just click on refresh all so that the fields are empty. And also, if we want to see the way it has reflected, we again click on. For example, now here it has not been added yet. Yeah, so for it to be added, we just click on refresh all. Yeah, so you see now we've clicked on refresh all. It is now we have an entry number 5. And then maybe you can just create a new one, maybe for students again. If we want to create a form for students, we'll just come again and then create, and then form wizard. And then you move everything. Again, you say, no, finish. Yeah, and then we just come to HTML, design, and then you say property sheet, data, and then you say data entry, say yes, something like that, and then you say form view. So we can. Okay. Oh no. Okay. I'm sorry. This one, yeah. Okay, this one now we can enter because we said the data type is number. It's not up to number. Remember, when making these students, we set the data type of student they need to be number. So this one we have to enter manually. So we can just write four, no problem. So if you just write four, yeah, this one we have to enter our own on our own. Yeah, and then maybe the name of the student we can say it's Mark. So you can just write something like Mark Hello, and then maybe their date of birth is something like 2006. We say the date is 5th, month of seed or something like that. And then we just click on save. Yeah, or enter. And then if you come to students, yeah, it has not reflected, so we refresh all, and then we should be able to see now we've been added a new student. Yeah. So that is it. Now you're able to see, even for the forms, the objects are available. All the objects are here. So let's just finish with creating a report. So to create a report, again, we're going to use the report wizard. So you go to create, and then you say report wizard. And then we're supposed to create a report with student full name. So full name is student first name and last name. So student first name, last name, and then the course name, courses, course name, and then the grade. So we click here, the grade. Grade is in it. Enrollment.
So you have to know that villages.
Yeah.
So they be located in your
Yeah, true.
So I made the name of my daughter.
Yeah, you must know. It's in enrollment. Yeah. So, yeah. Enrollment. Because now the whole purpose is to be able to pick from those different parts that we have. So after that, we just click on finish, and then you end up with a report, something like that. But if you still want to further design, but you see this view, you're able to see the full name, the courses that are there, and the grades.
The form
Yeah,
has a lot of steps.
form. Yeah, form has a lot of steps.
Not my own.
Yeah, but now if you want to further design this, you can click on design view, and then now you can even remember when we talked of something like colors. Yeah, for example, we have here colors. You can choose something like that, and then you have also you can see we have something like themes. Yeah, just to make our report look good. Yeah. So then you end up with something like this. So you notice here we have the four database objects for tables. So these are the main objects in Access. We have the tables, we have the query, and then you have the form, and then you have the report. Yeah, and then the reports. Yeah. So that is majorly it for Access. These are now the foundations. Yeah. So from here, yeah,
Walimu wa Eleven Access.
again Access. Yeah. So yeah, that is it. So you want to save. So it's more. But they actually you see the final process is here. You want to save. You want to save your. You want to save your the forms, all the forms that you make, all the queries that you make. You want to save them so that you're able to access them next time. So you want to save them, all of this. So make sure you've saved. So if you create a query, you save it. Yeah. If you create a form, you save it so that next time you're able to.
So you want to save a
Yeah, you just click. Yeah, just click on save. For example, if you're here, yeah, yes, you can just click on save. And maybe they may ask you for a name of or anything, but you will have saved. So just click on save. So that the next time you're able to access it. Okay. So that is it for access now. So maybe the next time we are only left with Canvas and internet,
Yeah.
maybe we are left with Canva.
Canva.
Yeah.
Canva is what?
Require making posters.
Oh.
Yeah. Posters, even let's say you have something like you want to invite some people to a birthday. Yeah, so you can design that.
Yeah, mimi naweza. Mimi naweza kuishi.
Sawa sawa.
Nakuja kujua jeni.
Okay. Hiyo sasa hii sherehe usha switch.
Hapo hiyo. Sasa ulikuwa unasema kwa sababu kuja. Nisitoroke rat. Hizi rat. Mimi sikuja shule sana.